There's other scales that are really common in Western music, which are your major pentatonic scale, your minor pentatonic scale, your major blues scale, and your minor blues scale. But those actually just come out of the major scale or the natural minor scale, which I'll explain in a second. And then you have two other scales which are common but not as common, which are your harmonic minor scale and your melodic minor scale. So when you hear people talking about minor scales, they're usually talking about the natural minor scale or the harmonic minor scale or the melodic minor scale. Those are your three main minor scales. And the thing about the harmonic minor and the melodic minor is that they are just variations of the natural minor scale. So the natural minor scale is built right out of the major scale, and like I said, you end up with tonic 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, back to tonic. To get your harmonic minor scale, you just raise your flat 7 half a step, and now you have your harmonic minor scale. So that's a variation of the natural minor scale. Then to get your melodic minor scale, from the natural minor scale, you raise the flat 7 and the flat 6, and that gives you your melodic minor scale. And you may notice that the melodic minor scale is the exact same thing as the major scale, except that it has a flat 3 instead of a natural 3, or a minor third instead of a major third. And it's somewhat common in popular Western music to use the harmonic minor scale to write songs too. Not nearly as common as using the natural minor scale, but you will find songs that are written with the harmonic minor scale because it creates a really nice harmony when you put the chords together, which I'll talk about later. The melodic minor scale isn't typically used to actually write songs. It's used in different ways, but that's a little deeper than I want to get in for this crash course. So that's the harmonic and the melodic minor scales, and then we're into our pentatonic scales, our major pentatonic scale and our minor pentatonic scale. And like I said, the major pentatonic scale is basically just a variation of the major scale. It's just taking the major scale and removing 2 notes. And the minor pentatonic is taking the minor scale, the natural minor scale, and removing 2 notes. Because these are 5-note scales, and the major scale and the natural minor scale are 7-note scales, and that's what pentatonic means. It's a 5-note scale. And then the blues scales, the major blues is just taking the major pentatonic and adding an extra note, what's called the blue note, and the minor blues scale is taking the minor pentatonic and adding the minor blues note. The major blues scale adds the major blues note, which I'm going to show really quickly. So here's the major scale again, just tonic 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to tonic. To get the major pentatonic scale, you remove the 4 and the 6, and now you have your major pentatonic scale. And that's a really common scale used in music. It's not used really for building songs, because you're using the major scale to build the songs, but this is used all the time for improvising over songs, for soloing, and it sounds really good for soloing. And it's an easier scale to use for soloing because you've removed some of the notes that are harder to make sound right. And then the minor pentatonic scale, you just start with the natural minor scale and remove the 2 or the major second and the flat 6 or the minor 6. And that gives you your minor pentatonic scale. Used all the time, you'll hear it all the time used in music. Again, it's not for writing songs, but it's used for improvising and soloing. Hear it all the time for that. And then really common variations of these are the blues scale. And the blues scales are, for the major blues scale, it's just taking the major pentatonic scale and adding the flat 3. And the minor blues scale, you're just taking the minor pentatonic and adding the flat 5. And what that does, it just creates this really bluesy sound where you pass through, if you're like in the minor blues scale, you'd pass through the flat 5 note. Usually you're going like from the 4 to the flat 5 to the 5 or something. You pass through it and it just creates a really bluesy sound. It's something you hear all the time. And of course, this scale is the main scale used in blues music. When you hear people improvising on the blues, they're usually using one of the blues scales. So those are just other scales to be aware of that are very common in Western music. There are many other scales built by starting on a tonic, going to its octave, and some sort of grouping of intervals in between. And the way you group those just determines the sound that scale is going to have. You can create your own scales if you want to, but they might sound really weird, or you'll just find that it's a scale that's already been made. But the ones I just went over are the ones you're going to come across the most, especially as a beginner. And these will be the ones most useful when you're going to solo or improvise on any type of popular Western music.